I won't say anything.
No, and this week on Two Old Codgers in the Southern Hemisphere, we'll be discussing. Actually, did you see? Hello, Johnny. Hello, Anthony. Did you see that New York is proposing having a
ban on schools?
No, they're going to ask people to submit ID for buying 3D printers, or they'd like.
I saw that. It was a while ago. But did you see the latest thing in New York State? Someone flew a drone over a school. So now they want the state's planning to introduce laws that prevent you flying near schools with your drone. The world is insane. We're afraid of everything. Everybody's scared of everything. Oh, everything's a danger. Everything's a risk. We're a bunch of sissies who. And the way I see it is that this culture of fear has been cultivated, and now politicians are exploiting it to extend their level of power. Oh, we'll protect you. You just follow these rules, and we'll make you safe. But why are people scared of a drone flying over a school? Turned out it was a real estate agent who was doing some shooting. But they said it could have been a terrorist drone, could have had explosives, could have been, really? Seriously? How long a bow do you people want to draw? And at some stage, you just got to say, look, life has a level of risk. If you want to protect yourself from all the risk, lock yourself in a padded room, never come out.
There was a terrible incident, and not related, but related, in England outside of school recently, where a vehicle just ran into some children outside. It was a parent coming up, lost control of their car, and that was that. Very, very sad. And yet, we're not rushing down. That happens quite frequently, unfortunately.
And sometimes on purpose. We've seen, people used as weapons. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the problem. But the whole drone thing is just, again, so super overstated. The risks and it's all about this. Oh, they could put bombs on it. And as we've said so many times, we'll then just regulate bombs better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's interesting that these security things are coming up. Did you see that Interpol has released what to do in the event of a drone incident? And there was another one as well. It was the CAA proposing. No, what was it? I've got to look myself. I forgot what it was. And I've just realised our UK guys are not going to be here because the clocks have changed, and they never turn up.
Yeah, they never. I still put it in the email though.
I did put it.
They're still sunning themselves on the beach because they don't realise the clocks have changed.
Absolutely. Let me have a look and see what they're. So you had a little bit of good news in some ways this week, in that your Civil Aviation Authority came out to bat for you.
Pretty much so, yeah, because I got this letter here from the council. See, it's got the council's little under that thing at your council, and it said, I'll read some of it because it's very interesting. It says, it has been brought to the attention of council of an incident, their English is not very good, that you were flying a drone/unmanned aircraft at the Tokoroa airfield without the appropriate authority. Proof of the incident can be viewed and they link to a video, which is when Bill made in his RV. But I did have the authority, perfectly legal under civil aviation regulations, was totally compliant. And so I contacted them and said, well, who brought this to your attention? And they said, oh, no, we just saw the video. They don't subscribe to much. They don't know I've even got videos. Someone's complained, oh, look at this. And I think I know who it is. So they said that, I'm not allowed to fly at the airfield anymore. And the interesting thing was that then they went on to say that, I said, why are you changing the rules? Because this wasn't the rule before, that you had to be, because they're saying you have to be a member of Model Flying New Zealand now, or a real pilot. And I said, well, that wasn't the case before. Why are you changing the rules? They said, we're bringing our rules into line with CAA's policies. So I put the question to CAA, have you, is it your policy that people must, file their flight plans with Airshare, which is our wannabe UTM, and that they must be a member of Model Flying New Zealand flying near an airfield? And do you have any problems? And CAA basically came back and said, we've got no problems with you flying under the current rules at the airfield. So I've sent that back to council, and we'll see what they say.
Well, if someone's got it in for you, they've got it in for you, and they're going to use everything in their power to stop you flying there. What did you do?
I've done so many things, I can't think of a single one.
Yeah, which particular one was it that triggered?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just crazy.
You're right, John. At least we have something to talk about. Well, What? Oh yeah, I was looking at. Yeah, it was Interpol, and it was also the EU as a whole, as a member, were deciding what to do in the counter UAS situation. So counter UAS is on the rise, and I think really lots and lots of signs of the industry. Well, ages ago I made that video on spoofing RID, and various
Yeah,
people
yeah.
said I shouldn't do that, etc., etc. One of the counter UAS companies has popped a little comment in there saying, "Oh, don't worry, we've worked out ways around this. You won't be able to get away with this forever." I was like, "Oh, okay."
I have the ultimate counter UAS system. You want to see it in action?
Yeah.
One, two,
Oh, very
three.
good.
Actually, it fails
Very
because
good.
you can't see any damn UAS in the skies anywhere. This whole counter, what are they countering? Where's the long list of incidents where people have been injured, property's been damaged, lives been threatened, on purpose by UAS? Where is it? One life? Where's the injury? I don't see any. They're creating a solution to a problem that has been created out of hysteria and fear. As I said before, people are creating this environment of fear where we're afraid of our own shadows, and it's so totally unhealthy, but it creates new industry, so that's good. A lot of people making a lot of money out of counter UAS.
Well, there's a thing that I can't talk about, but it's why the thumbnail is as it is so that we all remember. Just remember Dutchy, the word Dutchy. If you're in the UK in particular, and this week is when I started hearing about it, but it comes with
What have you got
already
against the
come.
Dutch?
Exactly. It's already come with some problems for the person who's running through what they're trying to get through. But if they get it through, if it happens, it will be extraordinary, and it will blow apart the aviation regulator in the UK's authority over certain bits of airspace. I truly hope it happens. So there's that issue, and that's why the thumbnail's a bit weird this week. So we can put down a remember when we started thinking about it was being spoken about. But so airspace and stuff like that and counter UAS leads me on to, and I can't talk about this either because I couldn't get a hold of the people today that I needed to confirm or deny that it had happened. But a fairly major airport in the UK is apparently denying access to commercial operators because there's been an incident. But there's no MOR, there's no reporting, there's nothing of this incident, but they're stopping people going in to make money allegedly in their airspace. So again,
Maybe they've been talking to our council and about how to create incidents that never occurred.
Exactly. That's the sort of thing that's in some ways I do know if it was me back in the day when I used to be in a tower, if somebody rang up and was really arsey, I did used to just say no. Because
you could.
Because I could, exactly. But if somebody was a bit unsure, but they were, very pleasant, and they wondered about this and that, you say, well, no, do this, and crack on. If someone demanded to come, no. But that's Jobsworth sort of thing, isn't it? So I can imagine that could have happened if an operator called an airfield at a particular time when something was going on. It's much easier to say no than to sort out somebody. But anyway,
but of course, a nationwide UTM would fix all this, wouldn't it? Take those controls out of the hands of these people.
Well, yes. I mean, that you drove directly to where the problem will lie is there's going to be dozens of people around many countries saying, no, we're not having that happening. We want to be the people saying no. But there was that FOIA that Ian Hudson might be along just now. He said it was going to be
Is he out of hospital now, is he?
He is, exactly. He's out of hospital, and that's where I was going with that. So Ian had a bit of
Did they find who put that thorium in his tea?
They didn't find who put the thorium in there, but he is definitely getting very close to the Gatwick case if he's ended up in hospital with mystery illnesses. So hopefully he'll be along. And he's definitely getting close in on the Gatwick thing. If you've been watching, which you wouldn't have been if you're not in the UK, the the COVID inquiry that's going on there and all the skullduggery that was going on behind governmental doors. It makes it very, very easy to believe all sorts of nonsense was going on around Gatwick as well. If they can do something about that, they're telling their own story.
It's a good thing we've got the government on the job to stop the spread of misinformation and disinformation, isn't it? They'll protect us.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
What is this new Online Safety Act in the UK where they can stop the spreading not of illegal material but harmful material? It may be legal, but they consider it harmful. Who gets to judge whether something's harmful or not? If you're the government, if someone's saying something bad about you, is that harmful? Obviously harmful to you. So let's knock that on the head. It's censorship, in other words.
My cool cat saying pen testing is a very esteemed activity. I've got a pen here somewhere. I've got a pen. No, shall I tell that story that I told the children?
Also, you've got a pen in your teller.
Exactly. Yes, look. Hey, and look. The very one I pick up. Thanks, Nats. That's when there's a cup behind me there somewhere. Once upon a time, that was a Christmas competition they have for testing people's aviation knowledge. It was a fun, gentle way of doing it, I thought. And all these campaigns have disappeared. In fact, the selling of drones seems to have disappeared this Christmas. DJI's, everything's for sale, and loads of other people are scrambling around. I'm definitely seeing American entities waking up to the impossible corner they've backed themselves into with the blue and green program, and how the American market just isn't big enough. So I'm seeing all sorts of people saying they're wondering how they're going to make it through next year. So it's very interesting time.
And DJI announced the new Mavic, whatever it was, thing.
Oh,
it's the little Enterprise. Is the Enterprise one? Looks like a Mavic, but it doesn't fold up.
Is it in a box?
I think so. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's the drone in the box, but it's they announced it anyway. I don't pay much attention to DJI drone announcements because they don't interest me in the least. But I've seen people talking about this one. But I did buy DJI's new camera, and that was instant buyer's remorse.
Oh, was it? Oh, have you got it with you? Tell me why it's buyer's remorse.
Hang on.
Matrice 3D. Okay. Coast to coast, is that a big thing or a little thing? So why is that instant? But is that a thing that overheats if you just look at it?
No. This is the one with the little gimbal on the top. You know, it's got the little screen, a flippy screen, and it says, "Hello, look at that." Woo, and it spins around. There's me.
And what did you have to do to activate it? How's its geofencing?
Oh, geez, don't get me started. I've got a bunch of cameras here. I mean, I've got my $3,000 Panasonic camcorder I use for filming the models. I've got a Sony high-end camcorder here. I've got little run cams, the whole lot. Full gambit of cameras. This is the only camera that will not operate without my smartphone. If I didn't have a smartphone, I couldn't use it because you have to go online and activate it. So all my other cameras, I bought them. I took them home, I charged them, I put an SD card in, I turned them on, I used them. This one, it took me 2 hours to get the bloody thing activated because it got stuck halfway through the update process. It activated and said, "Oh, we need to update you." So then it went into an update mode, and then the app crashed, and then I reloaded the app, and every time I turned the camera on, it said, "Oh, I need updating, turn on the app." And when I turned on the app, it said, "We need to connect to the internet," and then it said, "Can't find an internet." And I've got an internet here, but for some reason, something happened with the phone and the app, and there was no compatible. Oh, it was just, what a nightmare. Finally got it sorted. Why should I have to do that? This is just a camera. It's not a drone. And I should have listened to myself because I have on many occasions said that I don't think you can always trust reviews that have affiliate links in the description. And obviously DJI sent this thing out to a lot of people before its launch. And on the launch day, there were, I think, hundreds of reviews all over YouTube saying, "This is fantastic. It's got a 1-inch sensor and it's got all these fancy features." And I thought, there's a couple of things I wanted it for. For a start, I'm getting even shakier now. So the gimbal, handy when you're all, like a jelly in an earthquake. And the other thing is it's got a tracking thing, so I can move around. It will track me. So when I'm doing just one, I don't have a camera person, I want to, move around, the camera will track me. I thought, that's great. That's fantastic. And everyone said, it's got fantastic video performance and works in low light and that sort of stuff. And I thought, okay, good. So bought the thing, went through the onerous process of setting it up. The video quality is mediocre at best. My Sony camcorder, which is 3 years old, is better. It's got a smaller sensor, but it's better video quality. And some of the features that I wanted, like it works. I also thought it'd make a great alternative to my webcam, because with the tracking, it's good, because I'm doing a live stream. It doesn't track in webcam mode. In fact, in webcam mode, there's no controls at all. It's just a dumb web camera. I thought in New Zealand, this was $1,300 New Zealand for a dumb webcam. The Logitech one's about $100, and for video quality, that my now $800 camcorder blows away. And my $800 camcorder's got a gimbaled lens, so it's virtually the same sort of thing.
Okay, yeah,
but it has got some features, some great features. It's got what do they call it? Beautifying features. It can make my eyes bigger. It can make my lips red. It can make my skin. What the hell? What do you need crap like that for?
Well, you need that for your other channel, for your makeup.
Yeah, for my beauty channel, my blogging.
That'll be all right. That's features you need.
But I mean, it's not. I mean, it'll suit a lot of people. It probably ticks all the boxes for a lot of people. But the thing that disappointed me most was that I looked at the reviews and I realized these are KOLs, people that send DJI products out to, for free to review, and they've got affiliate links.
What's KOL mean?
A key opinion leader. I used to be one.
Okay.
I reviewed the DJI FPV system, right? I borrowed one and I reviewed it and said, hey, it's really good, because it was. And then DJI contacted me and said, oh, look, we're releasing the new FPV drone. We'd like to send you one. You can become a key opinion leader. I thought, okay, fine. So they sent me the FPV drone, this thing. So I reviewed it and I did a video, the 10 worst things about the DJI FPV drone, because as an FPV drone, let's face it, it's not really very good. It's fragile. It's expensive, all that sort of stuff. So I told people honestly, I mean, I want an honest review. People want to know the facts. Everyone else was going, this is fantastic. It was Justine and all the other Marcus Brown. Oh, it's brilliant. Oh, praise. And I put an honest video out saying it's got its benefits. I did a 10 best things, but also did 10 worst things. And I fell off the key opinion leader chart. I don't get free stuff anymore because I dared to criticize free stuff. And I didn't put an affiliate link in my description. So as a result, I'm no longer, they can't rely on me to boost the product. I'll give an honest review. I won't boost it. So I've never got another thing from DJI. But looking at all the reviews I see online, these are KOLs who've been given free product and they're just hyping it up. Some of them mention some of the bad things, but they just gloss over them and they focus on, oh, it's fantastic. And they got this footage. I don't know if you know Chelsea and Tony Northrup. They've got a big camera channel. They review all the cameras. No. Anyway, they were going, how wonderful this is, while they're showing footage which is absolutely awful. I'm thinking, really, you're calling that good? It's like, and then they did another video saying, this is going to change the camera world. Sony, Panasonic, beware. This is the new leader in the camera industry. Talk about being sold out or buying favor.
But they're largely on the way out, aren't they? The traditional camera vendors, or in constrained times anyway.
Well, the market's changed a lot because of camera phones, smartphone cameras. It's taken over from used to get little point and shoot things, like the little old cameras. They're basically dead now. But you either buy something like a really expensive camera, or you just use your phone. And honestly, if I had known how poorly this thing performs, I would have just bought a gimbal for my smartphone.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that was probably the one way to go. I'm just looking at the news to see if we've got any droney things to talk about.
Speaking of droning on, Don Jones?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he put a video about the rules. And I mentioned to him that, I think Canada's done a really good job with the sub 250 rules, non-prescriptive regulations, fantastic. And he said, yes, but once you get to 250 grams, it's really, really over the top. And I was thinking, how can 1 gram make such a difference? If it's 249, you can do what you like. If it's 250, it's way too dangerous. You've got to have, you've got to check the props for snow and ice, and you've got to keep a log of everything. And seriously, can 1 gram really make that difference? And that's what it boils down to. We've got people making regulations who have no clues, no common sense, no pragmatism. And that's always a recipe for disaster. And that's why I think the whole drone regulatory framework is in such disarray.
And interestingly, again in the UK, there was a freedom of information request on the value of the innovation efforts that are going on there, and they basically said there's been no value so far. And they've spent lots of money on different companies, and there are definitely a host of companies that are just, and I know this applies to all walks of life, but they're just going along to grab their money and
Yeah.
disappear off to the next
And
opportunity.
politicians are so stupid; they just think this is the right thing. Actually, Cool Cat says an interesting thing. It's a shame Ian's not here because of the time. But Ian had the same problem when he wrote bad things about DJI. They dropped them.
Man.
No more free stuff for you, Ian. But I should have known, looking at that and how I know they deal with KOLs, that these reviews can't be trusted. These people are just going to hype the shit out of it because they want to make all the affiliate money and lots of stuff. So I thought, okay. I knew that was happening. I didn't think it was quite to the extent that I've discovered through my purchase. So I'm going to do a video showing this up.
Yeah, but surely there's definitely, when you see new kit coming, you'll go to some of the reviews, but jolly well, just because you're interested in whatever the thing is, and you'll definitely see some that instantly you can think, oh no, you're not telling me the truth. I mean,
this is the problem. They flooded the market, they must have sent hundreds of these things out. So all those reviews on the first day were from KOLs. So when you go looking for a review, all the reviews with big numbers, they're all from KOLs. They're all marketing pitches. They're not reviews, they're sales pitches. And so the few honest reviews in there don't get much traffic. I've seen one honest review, a guy called Marcus Pix. He bought one too, and all his complaints were the same complaints I have. And he's a professional movie maker and videographer and cameraman. He knows, and he spoke his mind. He paid good money for it. He was unhappy with it.
Yeah, and coast to coast, I'll put your comment up there for a long time. Yeah, big business is trying to do that, but big business is finding out that what they think is going to make money, it doesn't work. So they're going to a lot of effort. I think we're actually coming to the end times for a lot of stuff. Amazon and Wing are still giving it a go, but they don't actually want to deliver stuff to you.
No.
They want to gather data as they fly over suburbs. That's what they actually
and also look at the UTM option
and run the UTM.
He who holds the keys to the sky makes all the money.
Absolutely. So that's what they really want, and they've got the bucks to keep going. But I can't see that they'll be going for much longer, especially Amazon. They've got a dreadful machine for lifting 5 kilos.
I know.
It
doesn't lift 5 kilos. It's the first job
That's
they're going to be doing
£5, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're going to be delivering prescriptions. The last time I got a prescription was a couple of little bowls that weighed probably 100 grams.
Yeah.
And you're going to use that massive, great drone. And there's no amount of paperwork and ticking boxes and pre-flights are going to mitigate the risk of that thing flying over your head. I mean, look, we get military aircraft that are maintained to the highest possible specifications, made to military specifications, and they fall out of the sky. So a drone made to commercial specs by a company that hasn't done this for long, they're going to crash and people are going to get hurt. Yeah.
And there's a whole host of manned aviation accidents this last couple of weeks. Again, it's terrible. The general aviation accident rates is off the charts, and they're not doing anything about them.
No, too busy focusing on drones and counter UAS and all the crap that goes on. Take your eye off the ball. And they say, well, you must follow our rules. We know what we're doing. I think you've proven exactly the opposite.
Yeah, I think they have. And I think the moves that the thumbnail allude to, which I can't talk about because I'm not allowed to, in the UK, will start taking the regulator out of the picture in some ways. And I think they should be.
It's going to be interesting, though. They don't want to create the situation we've got in New Zealand where the civil aviation has said to property owners, you have control over what flies over your property in terms of unmanned aircraft. You can say yay or no. Well, you can't say yay if the CAA says no, but you can say no. You can veto the flight of unmanned aircraft over your property. That then opens the doors to people charging huge amounts of money for access to stuff that really, they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. Now, I don't ever believe Bruce, mind.
No, I'm going to do a full review on it anyway. So if you've got need of the particular things that it offers, I mean, I'm going to keep it because the gimbal and the tracking, now that I've got it, I won't send it back. But if I had known about the rest, I wouldn't have bought it at this price. But I mean, some people love it probably because it does, they want the beautification features. They want their eyes to sparkle and things. I mean, it's important. I
think it's quite important for me.
Wait till you see the review. I look so good.
Yeah, 21 and a woman.
Yes, it doesn't put hair on though. I'm ashamed about that. And my hair was last seen running around the airfield.
Oh, very good. Very good. Danger tape or a very close B. Did you see the guy who's making a 3D printed image tracking missile? Yes, I did. And there's also a couple of other missiles have popped up. And it's interesting, isn't it? That chap that had his gun content pulled down, and not just pulled down, but his channel wiped off
The
the
3D
face
print
of
general. Yep.
the YouTubeverse. I would have thought anybody putting stuff like that up will be putting their necks in the noose of YouTube putting the ban hammer down on that sort of a thing. And I think, I don't know, Bruce can correct me here, but my personal opinion is it's a lot harder than some kid tried to 3D print something like that. It's not an easy task. But
no, I mean, if you've got the skills, it is. But if you're just someone off the street, you're not going to be able to go out and buy a few bits and pieces and throw them together. When I did my cruise missile project, it was on the basis that there are a lot of people out there, university educated, who've got the background in the engineering and the electronics to do this. And, so you just have to get a few of those people together. And if you were a bad actor, you could come up with something pretty quickly. But Joe Blow, the average builder or electrician, it probably isn't going to do it.
And recovery drones saying, don't New Zealand government declare war on him. Thing is, the New Zealand government don't watch this. So nobody watches this channel.
Nobody watches.
So he can hide here. He can hide here perfectly safely.
All those views, I bought them from a bot in India somewhere.
Yeah. Made Mikey legit at recovery. I don't understand that. I don't understand that comment you might, Bruce, but I don't.
I made Mikey. Oh, it's Philly drone life, is it? Is that what they're talking about?
Oh, here we go. Here's
trouble. Everyone go home now.
Talking about conspiracy theories.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm here for.
So I've got some now, which I can't go on. Now, can you actually talk about what you said you might talk about?
Yeah, and I think it's important. I think that, and I'm going to jump right in because, for the sake of brevity, there's one thing with SUAS News, and I think people need to realize that. I mean, if you really want, the inside scoop, that's what we've been doing for a long time. And this kind of what I'm going to talk about kind of ties back into that because it's going to tie back into the 2005 conversation. Which you old timers will remember. So anyway, including Bruce, because Bruce has been here for a week or two.
Even though I'm just young.
Exactly. Yeah. You guys are all young at heart. So anyway, I heard this yesterday, and I got to preface this all that, I've heard it. Somebody that was there, I've only heard it from one person. It is hard to have the facts straight. So I'm just going to give you what I discerned from the conversation. But what transpired was a secret. You're not invited to the ex parte FAA Part 108 meeting. And so this meeting was held. And, I guess certain people were invited. I wasn't invited. The public wasn't invited. And so, I have to, I did say it was ex parte, and people say there's different definitions of exactly what that means. But to me, it means that those of us that have a history, we know that it was ex parte because there's two reasons. And those were, like I said, because the FAA kept repeating that it was not an ex parte meeting and that they were going to memorialize it and do their own notes and put it in the Federal Register at some point. However, computers were not allowed, video was not allowed, recording was not allowed. There weren't like an abundance of tables, so it wasn't really set up where somebody could do some sort of third party, let's say, memorialization of what was going on there. So to me, that is, I don't know if they have that in your respective countries, but that's bullshit as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think you can't. I know there's some things in here in the UK, whereas if you're having a meeting and it's not minuted, it's not actually a real meeting. I don't know how that's put in the rest of the world.
They did say.
No,
They
did. The NSA stepped in there for a moment. Can you repeat?
The NSA stopped you for a second. Did you say it was minuted?
No, they did supposedly it was memorialized by the FAA, but that is dubious because they're. I mean, if you keep repeating that this is not ex parte, that tells me
Yeah.
that the legal team said, "Hey, man, you're skating on thin ice around here." The other reason I know it's ex parte is just like I said earlier, we were not invited. Okay, why? Always talking about
We never
education.
invited.
Yeah, well, you know why? Because I mean, even the person that I heard it from was telling me that by the end of the meeting, they go, "God, you're starting to sound a lot like that Pat Egan guy," you know, because some people had problems, qualms, issues with this meeting. So, if you're not going to have the public there, and remember, we've been listening to this horse crap from the FAA for years. Oh, it's about education. We got to get the message out there. We got to, share with the stakeholder, aka bag holder, and it just never happened. So that's another reason I say that this is an ex parte thing because we don't have people from the public. I keep talking about it. It's the same with this new advanced aviation committee that they stood up. You don't have anyone that's objective. You got all the yes people in there, and so the people that were invited were the trade associations, and the trade associations like your AUVSI, which is detrimental to the cause in all estimations, and by most people who are even have higher than room temperature IQs. And the Commercial Drone Alliance, who brought along their stakeholders. And we know who the stakeholders are, Google, Amazon, the big companies. So to me, it's disingenuous. You're not talking to everybody. You're
And we're talking
to,
108, we're talking BV loss here, aren't we? BV loss.
we are.
Yeah.
We are. And again, so the stakeholders are there. They're discussing what they want. We've talked about this before, that most of the stakeholders are not aviation people and they are not public policy people. They just have a cell phone app and they want to use it. And the rest of us have been paying dearly for it with our freedoms, including those amongst you who are RC hobbyists. That tragedy, which I'm sure you guys probably already talked about before I came on. To me, everybody talks about STEM and STEAM education around the world, and you are stomping on something that actually inspires children to get involved and see the magic of flight, physics, thinking, engineering, all of the rest of that. So anyway, so it looks like how this deal is going to shake out is that operators would declare that their operation meets some certain criteria. And this would be like part 135,
yes,
part 137. These people would declare, and there would be an administrative certification or certificate process.
Boeing. Boeing. Anyway.
Yeah, and so what it sounds like to me is an arbitrary and capricious process that is going to be very hard for some people to play. So earlier when I said this goes back to the 2005 conversation, and you guys probably remember this, was basically what you're doing here is just locking small business out, locking mom and pop out, locking out what is supposedly the whole backbone of the whole American thing, and I know you guys are in other countries, but I mean, it's the same thing. People understand what aviation means to their economy. And this, aviation 4.0 thing, the new political numbers are, $1 trillion of value. And then by 2040, they're looking at it 2040, or I'm sorry, not 9 trillion by 2040. So, you're not going to get a piece of that. We're going to bend over backwards and get screwed. So Google and Amazon can lose money on delivering, potato chips. So
it's funny enough, were you listening? Were you listening before you joined us?
No, I'm on.
Because that's basically exactly what we just said about those two. That's exactly what we've just said. It's
just reaffirming the message. I mean, And again from 2005, because remember, I mean, when I first heard that they were going to regulate this deal, I'm like, well, wait a minute, why? What has changed? Where's the scientific? Where we're going to go through all of this expense without any scientific validation. It's going to knee jerk it. So, what it tells me.
There they go again.
There, they've got
air
him.
maps.
Now he's been.
All of the rest of these companies that have failed, who haven't been able to do it, who tried to craft the regulations around their business model, is coming to fruition. And again, the little people are going to get screwed. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. I'm going to FOIA that. I have problems with it. I don't. There's still no voice for small business, NRC, and any of the other ancillary things that a lot of us.
A worldwide problem.
Yeah, it's
not just America. It's worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking about the culture. I see that in the USA, they're now going to pass legislation to control AI. If you have more than so many elements in an AI system, you have to register it with the government. It's like $250. I think it was might have been Brendan.
$250 AI.
It's sort of the same thing. If your AI is more than a certain thing, you've got to have it registered with the government. And this is the thing. Everyone's afraid of AI. Again, we're cultivating a culture of fear, and the government will come to save us through regulation. We just hand over our freedoms and our privileges and our rights, and they will take care of us, and they'll have more control. It's just an excuse for extending the control. These people that are elected to serve believe they're there to control.
Well, the funny thing is, and you may remember John Sermont, Gary, but he coined the term artificial insanity. And that's what I think we've got going on here. Everybody's jumping on this AI bandwagon, which is just an algorithm. And I think we're all suffering for it. People are saying we're becoming more predictable, but I just think that this AI crap is just, let's say, fostering more mediocrity. That's what I.
It's because they haven't integrated blockchain yet.
Yeah, there you go. That's
what's needed. That blockchain.
Yeah, that's what's needed. We need a bit more blockchain. But
if we could get some graphene and nano things in there as well, we'd be just made.
Nano. And it's what is it? It's only 10 years away.
Quantum effects.
Fusion. Quantum effect.
And quantum effects. Yeah, all those things.
Yes.
We're really sciencey here today on the program, aren't we?
got all the words, and all you do is juggle them. You just chuck the words around and drop them into a sentence.
I think it's time for us to apply for government funding.
Yes, exactly. But where I was going to try and take that was, all these things are well and good. Amazon and Google, they want the UTM or they want the data gathering. That's what they really want. They don't give a fig about bringing you a DVD. No, the crazy kids don't have DVDs anymore, do they? Whatever it is, there's about
You're
a DVD
showing your age, Gary. Goodness.
In the modern world, yeah, they don't give a hoot about that. And what's going to happen is that even advanced Scrabble, even that is going to fail. It's good that the airborne part of this will fail. It's inevitable, in my humble opinion. But the trouble is, the model aviators and the mom and pop businesses will have had the rug pulled from underneath them, and they won't. If governments have taken away freedoms, they're not going to give them back.
No, they'll sell them back. They'll sell them back at a great price.
Sell them back, yes.
Yeah. And this letter here, this also means that at our club, we are now the only model flying club in New Zealand who, when someone rocks up on a Sunday afternoon and says, "Oh, I've always been interested in these model aircraft. Can you show me more?" We cannot get them on a buddy box and let them have any stick time, because that's forbidden. We're the only club in New Zealand. But if they rock up there and there's a Cessna 172, they can jump in that with an instructor, fly around, get some stick time. No forms, no permissions, no authorities required. This is crazy. The world is totally crazy.
We've been real around the world. Hello, Colombia. Hello, India. Hello, goodness me. And even people in Wales, I think. Which is amazing.
I think it's time we started speaking Esperanto.
Esperanto, yeah. I've got their album. It was a tricky second one, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think the whole thing, people are starting to lose touch with reality. Maybe it's just been for a while and I haven't seen it, but this whole EAM thing too, Crazy.
Oh, that's
Totally insane.
that's in this part. It's no, that'll be gone, and all the big investors and all the newspapers will say, no, we never talked about that. Rubbish. We never mentioned that. No, that wasn't a thing.
There's the triangle of how we're going to make this cheaper. And people talk to me all the time. They're like, well, trying to validate the Part 135 operations for these, and the people that are doing it have 3,000 hours or 5,000 hours, and I'm like, how are you going to get down to the 46 cents a passenger mile? You're not going to be paying somebody that's got 5,000 hours. That's not the $12 an hour guy. And then I say, let's just think about this for a second. You're coming into the vertiport. There's thousands of drones out there, hundreds of flying cars. You got 4 lap hyenas in the back that are coming from the pub. And, it's not a sterile cockpit. The dude's supposed to come in there, flare, and, bring it in. Maverick is bringing this in, and they think he's going to be able to do it with 500 hours. I'm like, you're hitting the pipe.
He's not going to be. He's not going to be able to do it. We all know that an Airbus is driven by the pilot and the dog to stop the pilot touching the controls, and that's exactly there's this naivety, because if it all goes wrong with an AAM vehicle, the computers do whatever. There's no bits of wire. There's no flying surfaces.
Gary, you can't trust a pilot with epaulets, but you can trust a programmer in a dark room covered in pizza stains and drinking Coca-Cola.
Oh, no. Yes, I hear that. I hear that as well. That's also true. That is also true.
We've never seen software bugs crash 737 MAX 8s, have we? Never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and then those guys got jobs. The guys that were responsible for Watchdog and that all got jobs at the flying car companies. These people, shame has left town. A long time ago. They had to resign under a dark cloud from dead people in Africa, and they're over there working at the flying car companies and telling everyone, "Oh, guys, it's going to be great." Finally, the North Dakota show, because I've been saying for years, I go, you want to talk about certifying a new type of aircraft? Look at Honda Jet, 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
So FAA came out at the North Dakota show and said, if you want to know what certification is like for a new type of aircraft, just Google up Bell 525.
Yeah.
Now that has kind of given the community a little bit of pause, and they're like, wait a minute. Now, FAA is not going to say that at the kiddie drone shows. That's why I don't even like the kiddie drone shows. Is you go to commercial dog and pony expo, and it's all rah, and this is all going to be great. We're going to be good. But then the reality is that, we've been trying to integrate a 250 gram drone into the nest now for like 20 years, and it's just still not happening. So I think people have to, get real, that's all there is to it. They're still delusional, but
well, let me get it up. I think the Joby share price, Joby, not Joby. One of them really crashed this week, didn't it? I can't remember the name of them all. Oh no, Ehang just kept. It didn't have the expected huge spike after that Chinese airworthiness ticket. Which one was it? Or was it Archer? One of them.
Well, and
it's
while you're
just nonsense.
I want to talk about the Iranian drone debacle. Now we have already known about.
You said people heard it here first. Nobody believed us when those students sent us the information about their competition. Nobody believed us. Mind, why should they believe us? I suppose.
And I went to Naval Intelligence with that, and I said, "Hey, man, check it out." That'll never happen. Iranians are under crippling sanctions. They can't do anything high tech like that. Okay, and then same with the Chinese and the aircraft carriers. So even we broke that one too with the AVIC contest. And I went to Naval Intelligence again. I go, hey man. I go, that aircraft carrier, the deck, everybody at the time was speculating, what's it going to be? Is it going to be catapult? Is it going to be ski jump? I'm all ski jump. How would you know that? Nobody knows. I go, well, here you go. Check it out. They got these the rules for the contest, and it's a drone that can take off and land on a ski jump configuration aircraft carrier. You know, and I'm not James Bond. I don't own I don't have enough money for an Aston Martin, and I can't even afford the clothes. But I go, you know, all you got to really do. This is like, you know, open source intelligence, man. Check it out. And they laughed at that too. And even now with you know,
I'm just thinking. That was 2011. I'll share it. That's 2011 when they told us.
Yeah. 2011, 2010 and 2011 on this too. And it was laughed at and mocked, man. You know, and that's okay because I get laughed at and mocked all the time. Same deal now with the Chinese drones in the Ukraine and other places with the DJ Hadi dudes. The situation with that is how come how come that, you know, where are the fail safes? Remember now, you know, we were going to have our RID was a DJI thing, geofencing was a DJI thing. Is that only for law enforcement and civilians in Western countries? What? I mean, I know I hear they're wiping these. They got the software and they, you know, clear the decks and put new software in there, or whatever else. But yeah, the world's best drone company, you'd think they'd be able to, you know, stay one step ahead of.
You don't think that to boost sales, DJI provided that hack like they did with the FCC hack for the FPV drone? I mean, through the back door, you know, we've got geofencing, but hey, if you add this patch or type this in, you'll sidestep the geofencing because this only does 25 milliwatts unless you put a little file on the SD card, which came from DJI anyway. They want to be seen to be doing the right thing, but actually they want to get the maximum sales, so they'll just do whatever's necessary. And speaking of conspiracy theories, which I'm not, I sent Gary a link. Apparently, there's a company has claimed a patent on some of the technology in the Apple Watch, and they want to, if they succeed, they will block the importation of Apple Watches because they're made in China. But the president is considering whether he will veto that ban. So basically what they're saying is if Apple are powerful enough, they can basically defeat patent law. Patent law is only applicable if you've got enough. You don't have someone who your opponent has got more money than you. The whole economy, the whole political system is driven by money. Money buys politicians, and money buys wins in court cases. And this is the illusion of democracy is amazing.
Well, I think that's, you know, we could get into this, you know, philosophical conversation. But first off, Bruce, I did not know that you were a cynic. I thought you were this.
I used to be a cynic, but I'm not so sure now.
That's right. You know, I used to think you were this plucky kid with a gleam in his eye. No, I agree with all of that. I would say that, you know, the whole idea of, let's say, even democracy or Western ideals have been sold out lock, stock, and barrel. If you got the money, you could do whatever you want. I mean, everybody, like, you know, they got nets up around the windows at Foxconn, man. Everybody, oh, you know, we gotta be nice people. Can't discriminate. And I'm like, people are jumping out of the window. Or the same, you go to a store and they're like, well, we don't have bags anymore because it's bad for the environment.
Yeah.
I'm like, everything in here is made in China, man. You know, where they, you know, use coal to make electricity, you know. So you kids you're out to lunch. But anyway, it is disheartening for older folks to realize that this, you know, what used to be a conspiracy theory.
And you can see the drone industry is a perfect example of this. This is where the money and the power is shaping, it's overriding common sense, logic, and you know, everything else. It's just money's driving the whole damn thing.
It is, and when you
but
talk
it can't
about
defeat
that,
it can't defeat physics, though. It can't defeat physics, and that's where the problem.
It's only a matter of time, Gary. It's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time, and that's watches all the way back around to the Apple Watch. No, that's noise complaints. What price is that real estate for your vertiport going to actually be? The support for that vertiport, where's that going to come from? Who's going to come with that big thick cable? Even in the UK, I know there's problems connecting big renewable energy projects to the national grid because it takes them ages to connect any project to the national grid. The
you
UK
don't have
is
a
not
grid in South Africa, do you? You just have some
No.
wet string somewhere.
Well, I am watching the time because the power's going to go out soon. But nobody, your national grid people, whatever country you are in the world, they're not going to jump urban air mobility ahead of stuff that's already been waiting years. There's going to be magic. Oh, after you. Oh, you're very exciting and new. I think you must go first. Please go first and use all our resources before anybody else.
It's a good point because California is trying to be South Africa Junior, and you probably saw that in the news. I think it was last year or the year.
Oh, again. Every time.
Oh,
Tags on
well,
mattresses.
don't charge your car during the day. So what do you, I mean, to the vertiports? Well, it's gonna have to suspend service because we can't charge. That's another one. What are you gonna? These things have such limited range that, in my mind, the idea of a flying car without an onboard APU is a non-starter. Just a non-starter. Not happening.
We discussed the economics to a degree last week because of all the batteries required and the life cycle of the battery. The cost per flight in terms of just battery depreciation completely blows all their pricing figures out of the water.
Well, that and they have you can only be at the vertiport for 2 to 5 minutes. Who's hot swapping the batteries? Is it that $12 an hour guy that came from the barista?
And it doesn't really matter where they come from at $12 an hour. I'm not going to repeat my story of low-paid workers and the stuff you get, but we all know because to make it work, that is what you're going to need in lots of places. Otherwise, it's going to be too expensive. But you're going to need those people that are in safety critical spaces to be paid really well, and it just won't make money.
They'll have to have certifications to change the batteries, and they don't think I'm cheap.
Absolutely. Well, there'd probably have to be a certified aviation engineer, wouldn't you?
Lames probably. Yeah.
I don't know. That's just a guess.
Well, an A&P or something.
Yeah. A something. Yeah, definitely a something. So not your $12 an hour person.
Imagine the lipo fire. What are you going to do? Just push that off the building?
Well, imagine I say, watch out below. You might want to move out the way.
Throw down a pack of hot dogs. They're going to be like.
I see a woman got badly injured by a falling Rottweiler somewhere in the world the other day. Rottweiler fell from a 3rd-story window and just about killed some woman. Ended on her.
Well,
so LiPo's got nothing on that.
No, but there's some. But having said that, for all the negatives for the military and the battlefield, the ability to move bullets, bandages, and beans.
Do you remember the Hella Flying Jeep? Hella Flying Jeep from What did happen to that? Why didn't there are reasons why these things don't actually come into practice?
And it's not it's not practical because I heard one of the flying car companies was at an Army thing that I was at, an Army technology thing, and they were like, oh yeah, we could do that. We could go and we could pick that up and then we could fly back. And I said, really? So, where are you going to be stationed? This is, we're talking about a static, front. And where are you going to be stationed and what's your range? Well, we could fly 100 kilometers. All right. So you're going to be right there. What front of the artillery, behind the artillery? How far are you going to be able to fly in? Fly. Well, yeah, we didn't really think about that. Well, where are you going to recharge? Who's going to set up a recharging station for you? It's just you people are crazy. And then the military is just as bad. They want all the DJI capabilities at a DJI price point, and then they're like, and I got another list here. We're going to need it to do this, X, Y, Z. I want that. I need the swarm. I want it to be kinetic. It's got to pick this up. Got to be able to carry 40 kilos. Can it carry a wounded soldier?
They've just invented the swarm, haven't they? The military. They've just.
I don't even want to get into it. That is so depressing.
We've just invented the swarm. It's not what? What?
But they can't even get a drone light show, or what would be equivalent of a drone light show off the ground. It's just and I talk about this too. It's just like, we've talked about this early on, that this regulation was going to stifle invention or innovation. And we are suffering from that in spades today. We do not have the capabilities, the blue UAS thing. I don't, maybe it's just happenstance and it happened that way or whatever, but it's a big impediment. The other thing is, I'm sorry, the open source code has got problems, just like I said, it had problems, and it's going to have problems, and it will always have problems because it's not verified. And I don't know how many of them you guys have seen crash, but I've seen enough crash and enough payloads crash to say this is not good. This is not worth it. So American companies need to have markets where they can sell. I should say Western companies need markets where they can sell. They need an ecosystem developed, and that they also need an ecosystem in a marketplace that affords them the profit to do the engineering to come up with the innovations. And that none of that exists right now.
But DJI did it the right way, because what they did is they made us all pay for their development, as well as having big bung from the government. But we've effectively paid development.
You were the beta tester.
Exactly. All's fair in love and war. All's fair. The dumber. Now I'm going to interrupt this thread now to welcome Ian back from hospital, and now it's time for Ian's review of the National Health System. So, welcome back. I'm very, very glad to see you, and I hope you continue getting wellerer.
Yeah, and as far as National Health Service, you have to give it a thumbs up. As you can see,
I hate it when they put their thumbs up. Their finger's bad enough. Or we're talking about a different complaint here.
No, it's good. It's good to see you. And I've discussed two things that we can't talk about tonight, one of which you're involved with. In fact, you're involved in the third. You absolutely can't talk about Gatwick, because see what it does. It gets you put in the hospital. But there's other things going. But have you got any scandal that you can talk about, or are we just not able to talk about anything ever anymore?
Are you asking about anything?
No, not the airport.
No,
well, no, we don't talk about that. We don't want to talk about, and we don't want to talk about. But I can't remember where your foyers and stuff like that were. What's the current pain points?
Oh, there is one thing to talk about. Talking about the airport in a roundabout way, there was the IPSO complaint that involved the Emirates airline, where they claim it's been hit by a drone, and obviously they tried to link that in with Gatwick. So I was just interested, actually. Where were the stats on that? Because I had a chat with you about that, didn't I? Just bear with me a second. I'll type it in while we're chatting, because we're looking at this last time, and I don't know if we covered this, but I just thought it was. I thought it was interesting. So we've got Romans, if it's under there.
But there's definitely.
I'll put it up top of my head for now, because I know what had happened. I know we had a look at figures, and they have something like 38. This was last year, 38,000 complaints about press stories. They only pursued somewhere around about 380. So that shows you how difficult, or either that, or they get very. People are doing complaints and they're being very vague and not really wording them very well to get past. So I just thought it was interesting that the drone community has come together and done a good job on this one, to think that if that's how hard it is to get a complaint pursued, that they've actually picked it up. But more than that, they've decided on not just doing one complaint but two complaints. So they've seen two issues with the story that they've decided to pursue. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. So that's still ongoing. We won't hear anything about that until the end. And what I didn't realise until reading up on it was they've actually got stricter rules than this kind of tribunal system for freedom of information, in that straight off from the bat they say this has to be considered confidential in what's going backwards and forward and what's being discussed. And in fact, if you don't honour the confidentiality, they'll basically drop the whole thing and give it, they'll just drop the complaint and say you're not respecting that. So, it's a good job. There hasn't been there hasn't been put about what's been going backwards and forwards on that. So, I just noticed something went on Twitter tonight, and I reached out and said, "Don't put anything on about it because you'll undermine what's being done." And thankfully they took it off. So we'll just have to watch with that one. But I thought, cool that it's got this far. I hope we do get a winner at the end, because then that'll be motivation for people to, come together and in future knock it on the head. I mean, we've seen the impact that bad press has had, and it's got to the point now where that there has to be pushback.
I thought there was a very interesting. I forgot to send it to everybody. There's a very interesting video of an airliner, someone on the east coast of America, climbing out. You might have seen it, Bruce, and then saying at 8,000 feet, we've had a bird strike, or we think we may have had. We don't know what we hit. And I thought that was going to quickly. I thought the press was going to pick that one up as a drone incident. But what nobody's then picked up is that they continued the flight, and then they haphazardly diverted into New York. And it was all like, well, if it's that big of a bang and that much of a worry, you should have turned around and got it on the ground as soon as possible. And people aren't picking up the airmanship in that press on itis piece. To my mind, that's what it was. But I think that one might yet come back to haunt us as a potential drone strike, because they don't know what it was that they hit. But that's one to look for as well in America. So not as worried about it, but one to look for what we could do with the press with it and how it's reported.
One thought, Gary, because obviously as SUAS News, being a media outlet, you do get a bit more traction in asking questions. Have you thought of emailing the BEA about the incident with the Emirates flight? Because it has been a long time now, and just
I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll say where are we at with this one?
Specifically just ask about the drone, whether that's been ruled out, because that would be something that could be passed on for the IPSO complaint if they said actually it has been ruled out, and that'll give it a bit, that helps the potential success rate.
And for our American viewers, believe it or not, you have to pay for FOIAs in America, but we don't have to, because they actually think we're a press thing, which is great. So we can get around that. So if our American viewers have got a pressing problem they'd like to FOIA, then we can do it on your behalf. But what I will say is we've got FOIAs outstanding now that are over 7 years. It's a pity Patrick's gone. He'd have a number, but I think one of them's getting on to. In fact, if it gets to 10 years, we need to have a 10-year party for it. If it gets to double figures, they are incredibly slow at responding to FOIAs over there. Out
of interest, did Patrick go? Because I normally mention Brendan. No. He's got
he doesn't like being in the same room as ill people. No, he's got a meeting to go to. That's what it is. He's got a meeting to go to.
He didn't have his mask with him.
No, exactly. Brendan's actually had a mention. We have mentioned Brendan.
Yes, I gave Brendan an honourable mention.
Yeah, you gave him a mention. Yes, that's right.
Have you mentioned Dublin? What happened this week?
No, we haven't.
Yes, I read something about that. Can't remember what it was now, but I did see it pop up.
Yeah, we've had a strange. It's almost like they have now learned the lesson. Dublin Airport, and it's kind of a unique situation, because again it shows lessons that the UK could learn now if this is a consistent approach. But we were used in the past, and we've played it on this show, the actual ATC recording, so it's beyond dispute. It's a matter of recorded fact. The Dublin Airport, when a drone sighting was called in, there was an air prox, or one of the staff had seen it, they would close the airport down as just a blanket rule, 30 minutes. If someone thought they saw a drone again in that 30 minutes, it'd be another 30 minutes. And that was what was going on. Now, this week, they had, I'll say this week, it was probably, I don't know, we might be quite count as last week now. I've lost complete track of the days, but within the last few days, there was a sighting. Now, this was by a pilot, so this counts as a legitimate air prox. And we know, especially in the UK, air prox, despite it being so fundamentally flawed, it's panic stations. Pilot's seen it, it must be true. Even though the pilot's over Gatwick and he's seen some balloons, it must be a drone. But we know what happens then. We have a closure. And what actually happened with Dublin was they didn't close. They kept the flights continuing on off the runway. And what they did was they sent out vehicles under their control, presumably the firefighters, because that's what we've seen in the past, with the instructions to look for the drones. Now, presumably they've sent them out with the drone gun, the laser, and they've gone out there and they haven't seen it, so they've made the right decision. So they've saved hundreds of thousands of pounds, potentially millions, for what they've done before. It doesn't take a very long closure to really clock up the money. So they saved it by saying, we're not closing, we're taking our own staff, they're going to look, they're going to say this pilot's legitimately seen something, and they've got the counter drone system, so they wouldn't have done that unless the counter drone system was saying there's no up there. So they're saying, well,
it's
so
eyes to back up.
So they now made the policy, trust the counter drone, and we're not just going to trust the counter drone, because we know there's different models of drones, so on and so forth. I mean, the fact they'll have radar there as well, it shouldn't matter the model, you should get it, but they're saying belts and braces, send someone out, and to me, that's you can't complain about that. That is the kind of thing that there's a drone community, we're kind of been asking for. It makes sense. It's like, if you've got it on the counter drone, send the police out, go for job done. If it's not on the counter drone, have some trust in it, because otherwise, if you don't, you're going to close the airport down every single time someone sees a light on a transmitter. I mean, but we saw in Gatwick just recently, it was in the Sussex News. Some guy had said there's a UFO and had posted it, and it was a light on a transmitter. A big antenna.
And then it just makes it. This is the thing that can shut an airport. It's as simple as that, isn't it? It is as simple as that. Well, maybe sense is prevailing, and good on the Irish if they find a plan that works for them. And it's obvious, really, isn't it? But it's only taken us 10 years or whatever it is to get there.
Yeah, I must admit, just to be my normal menace, I did a tweet straight to the Minister of Transport for Dublin, the head of the UAS sector in their equivalent to the CAA, and copied in Ryanair, because we know how Ryanair love to go.
Yes.
So I got all three and I said, brilliant, Dublin Airport, look what they've done. They've finally got a procedure in that seems to work for dealing with drones. Naturally, no reply. I didn't expect one, but I just thought, just remind them that they're still there. We're still here, we're still watching them. And but yeah, fair play to them. They're not going to criticise if they're doing what looks to be the right thing.
No, it's good stuff. No, it's just generally been a slow old week this week. But as I said, I've said it. This will be the third time I've said it now, I think. But I'm seeing a little bit of panic from the smaller vendors that the world is not playing out as they thought it was going to be. I'm beginning to see that happening. And some of the pundits are being quite honest about the mistakes they've made about what they've been recommending and things like that.
Hang on, I'll share it to you.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's watching people back out, isn't it? Especially because LinkedIn's a fantastic place to have arguments. Why people don't think LinkedIn isn't just Facebook? It's just Facebook, but with a tie. And I don't understand why people get so. They pretend to be so high and mighty on it, but you can see people backing away from positions that they've held. It's very, very interesting to see what happens.
I keep away from it for that, because I think because it's looked at for employment and that. I mean, to be honest, though, I'll stick by what I say, and what I say is research. So I don't particularly worry too much, because obviously I put some Gatwick stuff on there, and I thought, well, sod it. In one point there is correct. If you don't think so, join in. I'm quite happy to debate it, but I don't, I won't get into arguments on there, but contentious stuff. And I just don't think it looks good. You see some of the language used on there. People are kind of forgetting they're on LinkedIn. Either they're being on there like they'd be on Facebook or on Twitter. Sometimes worse than both of those. I'm thinking that just doesn't reflect well. So it does puzzle me the way LinkedIn acts, or people the way they use it at times.
Yeah, well, they perceive it has value. And it doesn't, in my humble opinion. It's just Facebook, or it is. It's just another thing. They're great places to argue, but some very, very confident opinions on that. Very confident opinions, and they're backing away from their earlier assertions, which I find very, 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 very interesting. Now,
where's the delete key? Where's the delete key?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what it's like. Now, what else can we talk about before I disappear because my lights are going off soon?
I don't know. I just saw a video that says Lewis Rossman has been banned by YouTube, but I saw his channel still there.
Really?
YouTube bans massive YouTuber Lewis Rossman for simply promoting an app. I don't know if you're aware of that, but he's written an app, or his company's written an app which enables you to follow people on all social media platforms rather than having to go to YouTube and watch someone on YouTube. If they get deplatformed from YouTube, you can still follow them because it gets all this data from all the other places like Odyssey and Twitter and all that sort of stuff. So you can keep following someone no matter if they're deplatformed, and YouTube may not have liked that. So I'll do some investigation.
Amazon cancels Lewis Rossman. Rossman calls community to leave Reddit. 1 hour ago. Okay. New videos banned. Popular rights rebel. Talk about alternatives. Yeah, can't talk about alternatives to YouTube. Yeah.
I mean, YouTube is such a train wreck. Honestly, it's just, I don't know.
You're trying to cancel my $1 a month. How very dare you? I don't think that there shouldn't have been an advert on this. If there is, that's the thing, and it is annoying. It is. We said it last week, but it is annoying. If there is, I haven't put it there. I have no.
Well, it's November. In this part of the world, it's November already. I don't know if is it your place, Gary, but they say every time I go to my YouTube studio, it tells me now that where are we? Starting in November, we're simplifying ad controls for pre-roll, post-roll, skippable, and unskippable ads to extend best practices and optimize creator earnings. No, they're doing it to make YouTube more money and taking control away from creators, because creators like myself say, I don't want mid-rolls. So if they start putting mid-rolls on my ads, I'm self-hosting.
Yeah,
mid-rolls in my videos. I mean, I'll be self-hosting.
I'd have no idea how to do that, and I presume my internet would have to stay up online all the time.
I've got a plan, Gary. Don't you worry.
A server somewhere else. You've got a plan. Oh, good.
Just buy yourself a Raspberry Pi 5. They're available now, and you'll be sweet.
But I can't, because I'm sending mine to the CAA for the upgrade to the.
Are they going to borrow it to do the new database registration?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's terrible.
That's what I thought I'd do. Yeah, it's all very interesting. What an interesting world in which we live.
It is.
And on that note, I can't think of anything else to talk about.
I've got one.
Go on. Oh, you've got another one? Okay.
Yeah, and I've sent you the link. I just thought it was a little bit interesting. That
it's just opening.
We're used to seeing the police drone teams on social media showing about their successes, which is all great and good to see. One thing that has been lacking is the MPAS National Police Air Service showing quite as much as what they do. And this week, they actually posted. This is quite interesting, actually. They found an elderly male. We've seen this with drones, but they've got the advantage. This guy was in the middle of nowhere. They actually landed the helicopter, put him in, took him to safety, which is, it's one of the little unique things you can do with a helicopter that you can't do with a drone. And I
saw the Casey Neistat video. He flew under a drone. They tied him to a drone. There was those guys in Australia with the deck chair. This is possible. They just need a noose, a new feature for the M300, a noose that comes down and hooks under the neck of the.
Yeah, the thing. I should say. I'll see if we get this to link. I don't know if you can scroll down there and see it somewhere, but I'll read it out if not. But it was just interesting that I'd retweeted this particular Empire's incident, because just saying that people need to remember that good though drones are, there's still a role for helicopters. You know, they're faster, they go, you know, further range, they can work in far more severe weather conditions. And although we don't see people being picked up often, it's just showing that, you know, you can do it if you want to.
Yeah, but they do have their downsides. They can't land on pub roofs. Well, yes, they can.
That other link won't open.
Yeah. No, so, but there was just a response back for one of the Empire's accounts that says we complement each other, not compete with each other. And this mindset is one that needs to be hammered into those who like to build empires. And I just thought this is interesting. Who's he talking about? We said we've had some excellent results working with more open-minded drone teams, which suggests that somewhere there is a closed-mind drone team that's building.
Was it compliment with an I or with an E?
What's that? Sorry.
Was that compliment with an I or compliment with an E? Subtle difference. We complement each other.
Yes. Or everyone's very breaking up, and it's probably me.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's yours that's slowing up a bit. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting seeing that. You know, I do think there has been this argument of drones are the solution. We have to go with it's cheaper, helicopters so expensive, which is still true. You know, they are an expensive asset for the police to send out, but even when you get beyond visual line of sight for drones, you're still not getting that entire capability. So I think it needs to remember that you need a range of assets.
Well, what you're missing,
courses.
but what the UK is missing and what it's removed is its search and rescue helicopters from the military. They're no longer on station. It's all not private users, hired services. I don't quite know how to put it. So you're actually missing a huge resource in having 22 Squadron and then the Royal Naval Air Service as well, ready to go in lots of locations around the UK. So you're going to need, you've got air ambulances. Those weren't a thing when I was a lad, but those are all, you know, got to be paid for. So it's a pity that's because that's valuable training for the military, or was valuable training for the military, going off. And Babcock, Carl's there. Trust him to come in when I start talking about stuff like that. Or is he swearing at me? I don't know which it is. It's one or the other. But yeah, there's always going to be police helicopters. Always. Drones aren't going to do all the jobs. Never, never, ever. Never, ever, 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 ever. And on that bombshell, because my lights are going to go out here, going once, going twice, wherever you are in the world, dear viewer, look after yourselves. We'll see you again next week at 2100 GMT, where maybe we can talk about some of the stories. Who knows? Cheers for now. Take care. There's one click, and there's